Graphing parabolas and circles. All right, sounds fun. Let's get into it. There we go. Example 5, graphing a parabola, horizontal axis of symmetry. I am going to be teaching up here at my desk today because I got the graphing calculator and my iPad. It's really hard to walk around with both and do things on both of them. So just make sure you're paying attention, going through the steps with us on the calculator, and we'll be good. So it says use a graphing calculator to graph 1/2 y squared equals x. Identify the vertex and the direction that the parabola opens. So in order to graph it on our graphing calculators, it has to be y equals the rest of the function. That's how the graphing calculator takes the function. Y has to be by itself.
Wait, so we got to graph?
We're not graphing yet. Like I said, we got to get y by itself first before we can graph.
My keeps like rebooting.
You can try to get a new one. So what would be my first step here to get y by itself? Not yet. I like that thought though. Keep that thought in mind. What would be my first step to get y by itself? Do what?
Multiply 1/2.
Do what?
Multiply 1/2.
Now multiply by 1/2.
Divide.
Divide both sides by 1/2. Because 1/2, or y squared is being multiplied by 1/2, the inverse of that is divide. Actually, I'm going to bring it up here. So what's the number that's in front of x? 1. So I have 1 over 1 divided by 1/2. We're dividing fractions. Do we remember how to divide fractions? Huh? No.
Don't you flip it and change the sign?
Flip what?
Change?
Flip KFC. I guess you could say KCF in your head if you like KCF. But keep flip change or keep change flip, whichever one you want to remember it as. I remember KFC, so I'm going to keep the first one the same. Flip the second fraction, so you're on the right path. Change from division to multiplication.
So then let's say change.
I guess that works too.
Okay.
Usually we use stay, change if we have two negatives right next to each other. Stay, change. But I guess it works for this case too. My work's not popping up on the board. But we get 1 over 1 times 2 over 1 because we kept, flipped, changed. There it goes. So multiplying across, 1 times 2. 1 times 1. 1. So I get 2 over 1. Or, like I heard someone say, 2x. Questions on what I've done so far? I still need y by itself. It will not take a y squared. It just has to be y. So how can I get rid of that squared with the y? Take a square root of both sides.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. So I get y equals square root 2x. Everyone okay with that? Is y now by itself? Yes, it is. Turn on your calculators. If you're not on the home screen, click the home button. We want under Scratchpad, we want to graph. So click on graph. And a blank graph should pop up. If it's not a blank graph, click delete a few times. It'll ask if you want to delete everything. You click yes. Does everyone have a blank graph?
Mine won't like delete.
Hit delete a few times in a row really quick. Did that work?
No, it's taking me to like.
Bring it here real quick.
So if it says F1 x equals, is that right?
Oh yeah. So to get, if you don't have f1 of x at the top, click tab. And you should have f1 of x equals a blank or a flashing cursor at the top of your screen. Does everyone have that? Type this in to your function bar. Don't type in y equals, because it's already f of x equals. Remember, we treat f of x like y. So just put square root of 2x. To get the square root, you hit the control button, the blue button, and then you hit x squared, because my square root is in blue above x squared. That'll give you your square root. You type in 2x under it, click enter. Everyone should be getting a graph that looks like that. Everyone getting that? Anyone not getting that? If it looks like a straight line, you might need to change your window. So if you need to change your window, click Menu, go to Window/Zoom, and then do Zoom Standard. Is everyone okay? Does that look like a parabola to you, though? No.
Don't you have to mirror it?
Does it look anything like a parabola?
Yeah, half of
It
one.
looks like a half of a parabola, right? Here's the problem that we didn't do. Whenever we take the square root, especially for today's purposes, we want a plus or minus right here. Remember doing plus or minus? So what we just graphed was the positive square root of 2x. Now we want to graph the negative square root of 2x with it. So click tab again. And now you should see f2 of x at the top of your screen. Type in your negative square root of 2x. Click enter. The rest of your parabola should form. Is everyone getting that? Anyone have any issues? Everyone good with that? The reason we don't typically do this with functions is because this is not a function. It fails the vertical line test. Right? It hits more than one point at a time if I pass a vertical line through it. So that's why we don't do that when we're dealing with functions. But today we're not dealing with functions. We're just graphing a parabola. And we'll graph circles here in a little bit. So there's my parabola. If you notice, has an axis of symmetry right here. The x-axis is the axis of symmetry. Like Malia was saying, it's a mirror image. If I fold that over that axis of symmetry, it's the same image. Okay? What does it ask me to find or to identify? Vertex. Where's my vertex? 0, 0. So I say the vertex is at 0, 0. The vertex is just where the parabola changes direction. And then what else does it ask for? The direction that the parabola opens. The parabola opens to the right. Yep.
Is that A?
What?
Nothing.
So the parabola opens to the right. The vertex is at 0, 0. And that's all it asks me to identify, correct? So I'm done with example 5. Not too bad? Just make sure you use the plus or minus to complete your parabola on your assignment today. Okay? Can I move on to example 6? Example 6, graphing a circle with the center at the origin. Says use a graphing calculator to graph x squared plus y squared equals 16. Identify the radius and the intercepts. So what do I need to do first before I can graph it? Get y by itself.
Subtract x squared.
Got to subtract x squared from both sides first. Everyone okay with that first step? Now, how do I get y by itself?
Square root both sides.
Take the square root of both sides.
Plus or minus it.
Yep. Don't forget your plus or minus. So the two things that I'm graphing are y equals the square root of 16 minus x squared. Y equals the negative square root of 16 minus x squared. So, on your graph, click delete a few times. It's going to ask if you want to delete everything. You click yes. You should have a blank graph now. Everyone there? Once again, click tab to get that function bar and type in this first one. Square root 16 minus x squared. Click enter. After you type that in and click enter, you should get a half circle. You should get a graph that looks something like that. A little better than what I drew, but you should get a half circle after typing that first one in. Click tab again. Type in the second one. Negative square root 16 minus x squared. And it should complete your circle. Oh my goodness. So there's kind of what your circle should look like, except a perfect circle, unlike my imperfect circle. So I've graphed it. What does it want me to identify? Radius and the intercept. Does the radius go halfway across the circle or all the way across? Halfway. So, the center of my circle is at the origin, correct? So there's 1 unit, 2 units, 3 units. What's my radius? 4. My radius equals 4 units.
Is it the x and the y intercepts?
Yep, it says intercepts, so I'm going to identify all of them. So can anyone tell me the ordered pairs of my x-intercepts?
4, 0, negative
4, 0 is this point right here where the circle's crossing the x-axis, as well as negative 4, 0 right here. Does everyone see that for my x-intercepts? And then do I have y-intercepts as well? What are my y-intercepts? 0, 4, which is up here. And what was it? 0, negative 4, which is down here. Everyone see that for my radius, my x-intercepts, and my y-intercepts? Any questions on that? Did I answer everything it wanted me to answer? Yep, I'm done with example 6. Not too bad? You ready for the assignment? Here we go. Page 261, numbers 51 through 62 all. This will be due on Thursday, April 22nd. On Canvas. If you, for some reason, don't finish in class, some of you will hopefully finish in class, some of you may not. I'm okay if you use Desmos at home. It's that online graphing calculator. But don't sit here and not work on it and say, I'll just work on it at home, because you need to be comfortable using the graphing calculators. Because if there's problems like this on a test over Chapter 5 that we're going to be taking in the near future, then you're going to be able to use graphing calculators, but not Desmos. So you need to be doing it in here, getting comfortable with the calculators. Okay? Any questions on that? Questions before I end the recording?